So I have some new details on how John Bolton may have torpedoed peace with North Korea. There was, the summit recently. Trump and Kim Jong Un met again. And behind the scenes, some fuckery was afoot. So Newsweek says, Donald Trump's North Korea deal fell apart because of John Bolton, experts say. So look at this portion of the article. It's the most important. How exactly Bolton may have steered the dialogue from its course was, as of yet, unclear. This is from a few days ago, by the way. There were a number of working theories. One was presented Thursday by former South Korean Unification Minister Jang Se-yoon during a call with the local CBS radio station. He said he was almost 100% optimistic about the talks up until this morning's press conference and attributed the failure to a last-minute stipulation proposed by Bolton that would mandate North Korea not only report on its nuclear weapons, but its chemical and biological stockpiles too. North Korea then reportedly raised the stakes to include sanctions relief, a deal-breaker for Trump. The president would go on to say that the North Koreans wanted sanctions lifted in their entirety, but in an extremely rare press conference organized by, at midnight Hanoi time, noon in Washington, North Korean Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho contended that he and his compatriots called for the removal of partial UN sanctions, specifically sections of five resolutions that impede the civilian economy and the livelihood of our people, according to a translation by North Korea News. Catherine Killow, a Roger L. Hale fellow at the Plowshares Fund, wow, that's a weird name, told Newsweek that she was inclined to believe North Korea's account, as it seemed difficult to believe that Kim would travel some 2,000 miles for nearly 3 days by train to Vietnam without realistic demands. Bolton, on the other hand, quote, does not want to deal with North Korea, Killow said. As long as he's involved in the process at all, we have to be very wary. Yeah, so I'm not surprised at all. This is how Trump was undermined and Trump was tricked. Now, listen, to be clear, Donald Trump is a hawk. I mean, he's bombing 8 different countries. He's gaslighting us on Afghanistan and Syria. He says we're going to get out. He said we're going to get out of Syria. We're still there. And then the week after he said we're getting out, he came out and said, I didn't say quick. For Afghanistan, he says we're getting out. No, he's not. We have 14,000 troops there. He's pulling it down to 7,000. 7,000 troops is still there and still a war and annoying and bad. So there's a little bit of gaslighting going on here. He's definitely a hawk. Look at what he's doing in Venezuela. Look at what he's trying to do with Iran. He's literally trying to do regime change there as well. So this isn't like, oh my God, let's all talk about how Trump is so pro-peace. No, this is a rare instance where I think Donald Trump's anti-Obamaism has led him to this position. He sees, oh my God, Obama wasn't able to get some sort of a deal with North Korea, a long-term deal with North Korea. So now I have an opportunity here to kind of set myself apart from him, and I can brag about this forever, that I was able to do something Obama couldn't do. I was able to get a peace deal with North Korea. So it's a rare instance where he's stumbling on the right thing. Now, I'll fucking take it. I don't care if the motives are wrong. I don't care that he's taking credit when it's mostly the South Korean President Moon who's doing all the hard work. I don't care about any of that. I'll take it, man, and I'll give him credit. Credit where it's due. We're not at war with North Korea. If you want a peace deal, yes, let's do this. Now, having said that, Trump is being undermined at every turn by his own administration, his own cabinet. I'm sure Mike Pompeo is undermining this. I'm 100% sure John Bolton is undermining this. And here are the working theories, and they make perfect sense to me. So, at the last minute, Bolton goes, look, man, I know we're here to talk about the nuclear weapons, and that was the whole premise, but at last minute, dog, you gotta let us take your chemical and biological weapons too. So they're so slimy, man. Because what did Bolton say a few months ago? He said, we need to do the Libyan model. Well, what happened in Libya? He gave up his weapons, and then the U.S. fucking toppled him in 2011. So he did what the U.S. wanted, made a deal with the U.S., and then we turned around and stabbed him in the back anyway. Now, you think Kim Jong Un doesn't know that? So he shows up to this meeting with the understanding, okay, this is about nuclear weapons. Got it. Let's have the conversation. And Bolton steps in and is like, chemical and biological too, bitch. You got to give those up also. Whoa, what the fuck? Now, if that sounds ridiculous, it's because it is, and because that's the point, and because Bolton knows he can't say yes to that, and Bolton's trying to torpedo the deal, which is exactly what the fuck is happening. Because what happens? And by the way, this is, if I'm Kim Jong Un and I'm told that, I get up and leave immediately. But what does he do? He comes back and he goes, okay, you want to talk about chemical and biological? Fine, let's have that conversation. You need to do partial sanctions relief. So again, he's tit for tat. He's like, all right, you want to let's work it out. And sanctions relief, that's something Trump has, in order to save face, yes, no, you have to act first. We can't fucking act first. We can't lift the sanctions first. You have to show us first, and then we'll lift some sanctions. They're like, so Trump's like, no, there will be no sanctions relief. So in other words, look at how ridiculous this is. Because of John Bolton and the neocons, the position of the American government is as follows. You give up your nuclear weapons. You dismantle all nuclear technology, by the way, even nuclear technology that's just for power for the power grid. So give up everything nuclear involved, and then also biological and chemical weapons gone. And what do you get in return? I don't know. We'll tell you at some point. Maybe some sanctions relief, not total sanctions relief. Take it or leave it. So that's it. That's a negotiation where one side says, you give me everything, I give you nothing. So you want to know why the talks fell through? Because that's the position Bolton staked on purpose, because he knows that he can't say yes to that, and that's fine, because Bolton doesn't want a deal. Bolton wants to do fucking regime change and wants to do a war. So now you know what's happening, and that 100% is what's happening. Again, this is the same guy who orchestrated every regime change war. They're currently doing it in Venezuela. They're currently doing it in Iran. They want to do it in North Korea, and they're annoyed at the fact that Donald Trump is trying to make peace in this instance, and that he wants some sort of a deal. And final point is this. Any kind of deal that would actually work in the real world would look exactly like the Iran deal. What's the Iran deal? Very simple. Iran says no nuclear weapons, no nuclear weapons ever. The IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, gets to search our nuclear facilities, monitor our nuclear facilities, so you see we're only using this for power for our power grid and for research. So the breakaway time is an extended period of time, so we can't actually make a nuclear weapon. You would know immediately because of those regulators who are coming in and checking regularly. And in return for that, sanctions relief. That's the Iran nuclear deal. It was a wonderful deal. Probably the best thing Obama did. I would argue way better than even Obamacare, which was a half measure and not the best, even though it covered more people, yada, yada. One of the best things Obama did, 100%. So any actual deal that would happen in the real world with North Korea would look almost exactly like the Iran deal. So this just shows how Trump is an idiot, and he's not motivated by logic or reason. He's just like, I don't know, I'm against Obama. Obama was for the Iran deal, I'm against it. Obama didn't get a peace deal with North Korea, now I'll get one. So it doesn't matter that the deal would look exactly the same. But either way, he's not the problem here. To me, actually, you know what, Don? Wakey, wakey, bitch. You better hurry the fuck up and kick this guy out of your administration. Let me appeal to Trump's narcissism and his ego for a second. Hey, guy, you're being undermined by John Bolton. He's playing you like a fucking fiddle. You're folding like a cheap lawn chair to his tricks. Get him out of there. Get him out of there and make a fucking peace deal. Bolton is the problem. He's the number one problem. He's a neoconservative goon who never met a war he didn't like, and he wants another one. So let's get him out of the administration, because you're never going to get a peace deal with that guy actively undermining it at every turn. And I guarantee you, behind the scenes, they're even talking about how they're undermining it. Pompeo, Bolton, maybe some members of the deep state in terms of CIA and people like that. Guarantee you, they're like, okay, what's our next trick to try to undermine this? So that's what's happening. You need to know that's what's happening, and they're the fucking problem. John Bolton is one of the most dangerous guys on earth, and that is not an exaggeration.